Breastfeeding part 3, debunking the myths. That didn't sound good at all. Alright, so I want to make this a fast video because he doesn't have a very long attention span right now. So I'm going to do this really fast. So the first myth that we're debunking is one that I've already talked about in the part 1 video. It's on production. So what you have to understand about milk production with breastfeeding is if you're listening to your baby and allowing your baby to nurse when they give you the cue that they are hungry, fingers in the mouth, crying fussy, sucking on things, if you feed them when they're hungry, your production will stay at a level that constantly is able to meet their needs. If you miss a feeding, your production is going to go down. So you're going to need to be very, very mindful. You're going to need to be very mindful of that fact. And if your supply seems a little bit lower, it's because you missed a feeding. It's going to take you 2 or 3 feedings to get your milk supply back to the level that it was before you missed the feeding. So one of the myths is if you think you're not producing enough for your baby, then you just need to stop breastfeeding because you're not going to be meeting your baby's needs. And that is just not true. Okay, and let me just disclaimer, anything that I have said in any of these breastfeeding feeding videos are simply my experience, my personal opinion. I am not a medical professional. I am not even a lactation specialist. So if you disagree with me, you disagree with me. But if you do your own research, you will find that everything that I'm saying is backed by either lactation specialists or multiple mothers, breastfeeding mothers, who will confirm, validate what I'm saying. So, the saying, I had to stop breastfeeding because I wasn't producing enough, that is a misguided assumption about breastfeeding. Because that's just, like I said in my part 1 video, production is pretty much all about how often you nurse and how well you listen to your baby. So that was 1. 2 is that there are certain positions that are required to breastfeed correctly. And that one size fits all. You will see that in every medical or educational video. You'll see them with a pillow or a boppy pillow, nursing pillow, whatever. You'll see them with the baby laying horizontally, and the mom's holding her breast a certain way, and the baby's head is angled a certain way, and you just have all of these points and angles that you have to get right in order to be breastfeeding correctly or to have the proper latch. That is just not, okay, I say it's not true. In some cases and at some points of breastfeeding, angle and position are important, but one size does not fit all. And when you think about it, you're laying the baby on its side. Have you ever tried to drink on your side? And also, their baby is kind of up, and it's like they have to work against gravity. And when they're newborns, they don't have that much strength So I just felt like I felt like I was asking a lot of Jake Jr. to be like, okay, you have to lay on your side, you have to turn your head this way, you know, you have to stay awake the whole time. I mean, I know that it is a myth that one size fits all. One size does not fit all. And if you watch my part 2 video about our nursing journey, I found that at different stages of our breastfeeding journey, at different stages, different positions worked better. So in the very beginning, I was talking about how we did belly to belly, and he pretty much was sitting up nursing up until like 4 or 5 months, and then we laid down to nurse a lot because that was just more comfortable. And then now I hold him like a baby and cradle him while he works. He's not laying perfectly horizontal, but anyways, one size does not fit all. Your baby does not have to, you do not have to try and complete all these tasks before your baby can actually start nursing. Like, you don't need a nursing pillow. You don't, I just feel like so much pressure is put on you to make sure that they're in the right position and that your baby is latched correctly and everything. When what I found and what I have seen other mothers find is that if you just let your baby try to get comfortable himself or herself, they will, and they will do what works for them. So one size is definitely not fit all. Another thing is you need to measure how much milk you're producing in like volume. You need to pump it out and measure it, and there's certain guidelines, like at this point you should be producing 4 ounces, 5 ounces, 6 ounces, 8 ounces. Your baby should be eating this much, this much. That's not so much it's not true, it's another one of those one size doesn't fit all. And I'm not going to say who, but a family member of mine, whenever Jake Jr. was much, much younger and we were new to breastfeeding, luckily I had done a lot of research, so I knew that I was going to get these comments already. It was still, even knowing the truth, it was still difficult not to question myself and not to get angry or whatever. So anyways, one of the family members would say, how much did you just pump? And I'd be like, 2 ounces. 2 ounces, that's all. Where I knew at the time all my baby needed was 1 to 2 ounces. So 2 ounces was fine. And mind you, that was 2 ounces per breast. So I was giving my baby double what he needed every time. But they just got so caught up on how much it was and how little it was. And that can be discouraging, especially like if you had a breastfeeding mom who hadn't done the research I had done, and you have people going, all you've pumped is 2 ounces. All your baby's getting is 2 ounces. Yeah, you're going to feel discouraged. You're going to feel inadequate. You're going to feel like you're not giving your baby what he needs to survive. And it's just not fair, and it's not helpful. But anyways, I did know that the measurement, the volume that you produce does not mean that much. It is not that important. As long as you're listening to your baby, as long as you're feeding them when they're hungry, as long as they're not sitting around crying all the time with obvious signs of hunger, as long as they're growing and peeing and pooping, you're fine. Another myth was that cracked nipples mean your baby's not latching correctly, or that your baby has a bad latch. That does not necessarily mean that. It is latch related, but it doesn't mean it's a bad latch. Like I said in my second part video, I got cracked nipples anytime he went through a growth spurt. And that was just because he either was nursing so much that his latch was just a little different than what my nipple was used to at that time. And then it was almost like my nipple had to get used to the difference the different latch each time it changed. I know it's weird. But anyways, the myth that you'll hear is cracked bleeding nipples is a bad sign, you should probably stop. That's not true. Or that cracked nipples means your baby's not latching right and it needs to be corrected. Not true all the time, Now sometimes, I'm sure, yes, but in my experience, nothing needed to be corrected. I just needed to wait, and you know, within like 2 days, everything would work itself out. So, and then another myth is that breastfeeding babies need supplementing. That's not always true either. Jake Jr. has survived 10 months on breastfeeding alone. I don't have to supplement him with anything. Hey. Hey. Now, one size doesn't fit all, so just because he doesn't need supplementing doesn't mean your baby won't or another baby won't. But I'm saying not all babies need supplementing. And then the last Junior has been eating every 3 to 4 hours since he was like a month old. From the time he was born to the time he was a month old, yeah, he ate every 2 to 4 hours. But since he was about a month old, he's been eating every 3 to 4 hours religiously. So that tells me that he stays full just as much as any other baby. Or just as much as like a formula-fed baby. So anyways, the other thing is that they don't sleep through the night. I have two, that is a total myth, because when he was, well, from the time he was like 5 weeks to like 4 months, 4 or 5 months, he was sleeping 6 hours or more. So through the night, because they consider through the night means at least 6 hours. And he was doing that. With the teething, as soon as he started teething, it seems like every tooth that comes in, he has to nurse in the night, and I think that's from pain. But anyway, so breastfed babies can and do sleep through the night. Oh, you're so cute. You've been so good today while we've been doing these videos. Can I have a kiss? See, I love breastfeeding. So yes, I do. Hey, are you hungry? Hey, are you hungry? Say, speaking of breastfeeding, I'm hungry. You hungry? It's about that time. Alright, well, I hope that you enjoyed watching my breastfeeding videos, and let me know if there's anything that I could talk about breastfeeding literally for days. So let me know if there's anything that I missed or that you want me to go into more detail about, because I try to not make these videos last too long. My goodness, poor baby. And so yeah, I could probably go into more detail about some things, but I tried my best to compress it and be thorough. So anyways, I had fun making the video. I love talking about breastfeeding. I love helping people with breastfeeding. I love breastfeeding. So thanks for watching.